Welcome friends in today's session. Today we are going to discuss ratio and proportion. So first I will tell you what are the basics which you need to know before continuing ratios and proportions. So first I will start with basics. Okay, what are ratios? Ratios are the comparison made between two numbers. For example, if there are 8 girls and 7 boys in the class, then the ratio between girls and boys then the ratio between girls and boys is what? 8 is to 7. Okay, so the logic behind this is if there are two quantities and we are comparing that quantities, so one quantity is compared with the another quantity. If one quantity is 8, for example, here girls are 8 and boys are 7, so ratio between them is 8 is to 7. Okay, then ratios are used in everyday life. For example, uh, we used to say speed limits like kilometer per hour, kilometer per second, whatever. So what we are doing, we are comparing distance to the time. So we are doing a calculation of ratio. Okay, for example, mile per hours, the cost of item. For example, if we are purchasing something, then we uh, used to deal with numbers like how many kgs are of what cost, okay, and miles per hour. So these are the examples of ratio. Now there are three ways to denote ratios. One is to simply write like this: 8 is to 5. Okay, these dots are used to denote ratio. Another one is 8 to 5. Now writing a ratio using colon between two numbers being compared. For example, there are 3 apples and 4 oranges in the basket. What is the ratio of apple to orange? So, ratio of apple to orange is what? Number of apples are 3 here and number of oranges are 4 here. So, ratio between them is 3 is to 4, or we can write 3 to 4, or 3, or we can write 3 by 4. Writing a ratio as a fraction. So I have told you that ratio can be written in the form of fraction also. Here, for example, there are two quantities. Hunter and Braden were playing basketball. Braden scores 5 basket and Hunter scored 6 basket. What was the ratio of basket Hunter scored to the basket Brandon scored? So total score of Brandon is 5 baskets and Hunter is 6. So ratio between them is 6 is to 5. Okay. Rules for solving ratios problem. Now we are going to learn how to tackle ratios. For example, there are 4 girls and 7 boys at the birthday party. What is the ratio of girls to boys? So number of girls are 4 and number of boys 7, and they are saying that compare girls and boys. So ratio between girls and boys is what? 4 is to 7. Now, remember one thing, ratios must be written in lowest term. For example, if we have a ratio like 40 is to 45, okay, we have ratio that is 40 is to 40 is to 45, but we will not use to write it 40 as to 45 because 40 and 45 both have common factors. That is, we can cancel it with the help of 5. Okay, 5 9 times is 45 and 5 8 times is 40. So we can write it as 9 by 7. Either we can write it as 9 is to 8 or 8 is to 9. So always we will use lowest term to denote ratios. Now coming to the compounded ratios. So compounded ratios are what? Compounded ratios are like if you have a ratio that is A A by B or B by C, and you have to calculate compounded ratio. So you will do what? A multiplied with B and B multiplied with C. So you will get compounded ratio as AB by BC. Okay, then duplicate ratios. Duplicate ratios are nothing but the square of the same ratio. For example, if you have an ratio A is to B, so duplicate ratio of A and B is what? A square is to B square. Okay, for example, if you have 2 and 4, then duplicate ratio of 2 and 4 is what? Square of 2 and square of 4. So square of 2 is 4 and square of 4 is 16. Then sub-triplicate ratio. Sub-triplicate ratio is what? For example, we have AB, then sub-triplicate ratio is the cube of AB. Like this, sub-duplicate ratios are the root of that ratio itself, and sub-triplicate ratio is cube of cube root of that number itself. Okay, so we have read duplicate ratio, triplicate ratio, sub-duplicate ratio, then sub-triplicate ratio. Then reciprocal. Reciprocal is what? If we have a ratio AB, then the reciprocal of that ratio is B is to A. This is reciprocal ratio. Okay. Now what is proportion? If two ratios are in proportion or two quantities are equal to each other, then that is known as ratio. For example, we have A by B, which is in proportion with C and D. So ratio A by B and C by D are in proportion with themselves. Now in proportions, we have terms like A, B, C and D. So term A and D are known as extreme terms, and B and C are known as middle terms. Okay, or most of the times middle terms are mean proportion. Now what is fourth proportion? If we have terms A by B and C by D, then this one is first term, this one is fourth term. So D is known as fourth proportion. D is known as fourth proportion. This proportion continues. For example, A by B is equals to B by C, then B by C equals to C by D, and so on. Then this kind of ratio is known as continuous ratio. Like I told you, if we have an ratio A by B and B by C, so on cross multiplying them, we are getting AC and B square. So here B square is equals to AC. Here B is mean proportion. We can find out B using this formula. B is equals to under root of AC. Now we have several law which you have studied, I think, in earlier classes also. That is invertendo. Now what is invertendo? Suppose if we have an ratio that is A by B and C by D. So what do you mean by invert? Invert means to just reverse them. Okay, so invertendo is also like that. that we are reversing both these ratios like B by A and D by C. This is known as invertendo. Now, alternando. What is alternando? So, again same, we have ratios A by B and C by D. In alternando, we will just switch these both ratios. B at the place of C and C at the place of B. A and D remains as it is. Okay, so our alternando is A by C and B by D. So what we have done is that we have replaced B and C. Okay, now component. So what is componendo? Again we have a ratio that is A by B and C by D. So in componendo we are doing that we are adding denominators to the numerator. Okay, and denominator remains as it is. For example, here we have A, so we are adding B to it and B remains as it is, as well as C, so we are adding D to it and D remains as it is. So this is componendo. Dividendo. So what is dividendo? Like in the case of componendo, we have added denominators to the numerator. Now we are subtracting denominators to the numerator. For example, we have A by B is equals to C by D. So we are subtracting B from A, B remains as it is, then D from C, then D remains as it is. This is known as dividendo. Okay. Then we are combining dividendo and componendo. So on addition of dividendo and componendo, so in this case what we'll do is we will add the denominator to the numerator and we will subtract denominator as well from numerator, but we will write it at the place of denominator. For example, here we have A by B and B C by D. Okay, so what we are doing here is we are adding B to the numerator and as well as we are subtracting B to the denominator also, as well as in this case we have D at the denominator, so we are adding denominator to numerator as well as we are subtracting it. Okay, so this is dividendo and componendo. Now these rules are very much useful for us because we will apply this all these rules in our questions. That's why we are doing them. Okay, now convertendo. Convertendo is what? That you have a number A by B and C by D. So now you have to do is that A remain as it is and you will subtract B from it and write it at the place of denominator, as well as C remains as it is, but subtraction of C and D will take place at the denominator. Now so duplicate ratio of 729 x raised to the power 18 is to 64 y raised to the power 6. Now 729 is the square of 27x raised to the power 9 and 64 is square of 8, so 8y raised to the power 3. So these are the subduplicate ratios. These are our subduplicate ratio. Now we need to calculate triplicate ratio out of them. Okay, so now triplicate ratio of 27x raised to the power 9 and triplicate ratio of 8y raised to the power 3, and here it is 9. Okay, so 27 is now 27 is the cube of 3x cube and 8 is square of 2y. So we are getting answer 3x cube and 2y as our answer. Now second question is also similar. First we have to calculate triplicate ratio, then subduplicate ratio. So triplicate ratio of 4096x raised to the power 6, and then again subtriplicate ratio of 729y raised to the power 12. So 4096 is the cube of 16, so it is 16x square. Okay, then 729 is the cube of 9, so 9y raised to the power 4. So these are the subtriplicate ratios. Now from this subtriplicate ratios we have to calculate subduplicate ratio. So now subduplicate ratio of 16x square is to 9y raised to the power 4. So 16x square is what? 4x and 3y. Now two numbers are in the ratio of 3:5. If 8 is added to each number, the ratio become 2:3. So find the number. So let the number be x. Okay, first of all we'll take the number to be x. So we have the ratio, that is 3x and 5x. Okay, now if we add 8 to 3x and 8 to 5x, so we'll get 2 is to 3 according to the question. Now applying cross multiplication here, we are getting 3x plus 8 and 2 5x plus 8. So now we need to only cross multiply them. So 3 is 9, 24, 10x plus 16, then 9x minus 10x and 16 minus 24. From here we are getting minus x, and from here we are getting minus of 8. So minus get cancelled by this minus, and we are getting value of x as 8. So the value of x is 8, and they are asking for the number, find the numbers. So numbers are 3x and 5x. So now 3 into 8 and 5 into 8. So first number is 24 and second number is 40. Now question is, if x is to y is 2 is to 3, find the value of 3x plus 2y is to 2x plus 5y. 2 is to 3. So I have to use this x and y, and I have to solve this 3x plus 2y upon 2x plus 5y. So I'm dividing both numerator and denominator by y. So on division we are getting 3x by y plus 2 because y and y get cancelled. Okay, so here we are getting 3xy plus 2, and here we will get 2xy plus 5 because y and y again get cancelled. So now I have 3 into xy plus 2 and 2xy plus 5. Now we have the value of xy, that is 2 is to 3. So 3 and 3 get cancelled. From here we are getting 4, and from here we are getting 19 by 3 by taking LCM. So 4 by 1 into 3 into 19, that is 12 is to 19 as the answer.